Hi, this is Mrs. Zhu, and we're working on the packet that was passed out today in class, the quarter 3 practice final. And this is the first practice final of 2 of them. And you need to fill in your answers on the scantron. And tomorrow, right at the beginning of the class, we will grade your scantrons, and then we're going to go over your skill boosters and also go over any questions you have on this practice final, and then move on to the second part of our review tomorrow. Question number 1 is asking for a simple interest. On page 4 in your notebook, we took a few notes about simple interest. There is a formula that we use, and that is I equals P times R times T, and that stands for like I party. P is the amount that you borrow. We call it the principal. P means principal, or the amount. R is the rate, which is a percent that you need to change to a decimal. And then there's T, the time in the number of years. So we're going to simply multiply P, R, and T together to get the interest. So I'm going to multiply $3,000 that we're borrowing, times it with 3%, and that's going to be the decimal 0.03. Then I'm going to also times that by 5 years. So I'm going to first multiply 3,000 with 5, giving me 15,000. And then 15,000 I'm going to multiply by 0.03. My decimal will go right there. So I get $450 is my interest, equals my interest. Now, I don't see $450 in my answer, but the question, if I look back to it, says how much will be in the account. Well, there is already $3,000 in the account when you started for the college savings, but then they get to earn another $450. So I'm going to take the $450 and add it to $3,000, giving me $3,450. So then that would be the amount that I have in my account. So that would be the answer D. Whoa. Sorry about that. Okay, number 2. We did review a little bit about a selling price today in class. The selling price is the amount that you add with the markup price. So first we'd have to find the markup price. So to do that, there are several ways we can make a proportion. We could say that we want 35% out of 100. So remember that 35 represents the markup percentage, and this represents the whole percentage, which a percent is always out of 100. And that's going to be equal to X out of 50. And the reason why $50 is at the bottom is because that's our whole price, but we're finding a part of the price, which will be the markup price. So to do that, we'd have to put X over 150. And then from here, I would cross multiply. Okay. Now another way to do that is to simply multiply $50 times 0.35, and I actually like that method a little better for myself. $17.50, so X will give us $17.50. Now that's not our answer because it's asking for the selling. So I have to add that amount to the already $50. So $50, 0.00 cents, added with $17.50 is going to give me $67.50. So that would be answer C. And each of these questions takes quite a few steps to get there. Number 3, as we look at the percent discount, so I'm going to look for a percent. So I want to look for a percent discount. Okay, there is a formula that we talked about in class, and that's percent over 100 equals anytime we find the percentage of a decrease or an increase, then we have to do the D is the difference because we need to find how much that discount is. Now the recliner cost $360, but then it went on sale for $270. So there is a difference, and then O stands for the original price. So I'm going to do X over 100 equals to the difference would be $360 minus $270. And that would give me $90 is that difference. And it's going to be out of the original, which was $360. Okay, so formally my proportion is X over 100 equals 90 over 360. I'm going to get rid of these zeros here and simplify this fraction, which is going to be 1/4. And that actually, I know the percent for 1/4. It is 25%. It's a quarter. So my answer will be A. That recliner was actually had a discount ticket of 25%. And when you work on number 5, it is the same formula for number 5. It's just asking for percent increase. So instead of the price dropping, it's increasing. So again, you would still have to do the percent over 100 equals to the D over O, difference over original. I'm not going to do that one, and I'm going to skip number 4 as well as number 6. Okay, let's try number 8. Number 8, we're looking for the percent of the eggs that are left in the carton. There are exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 eggs out of the 12. So I'm just going to write 9 over 12. That fraction will then help me get a percentage. And I could make it X over 100 because X over 100 is a percent. If I want to do that, I can just simply divide it. I'm going to simplify 9 over 12 and get 3 over 4. And that can also help me to find the percent, which I actually already know that percentage is 3/4. And 3/4 is the same amount as 75%. That's number 8. I'm going to skip on down to number 10. We did a little bit of scientific notation in class today. When you're working on scientific notation and making it into standard, we would want to look at the 7. That tells me I'm going to move 7 spaces. And because it's positive, I'm going to go to the right. So I'm going to take the decimal between the 2 and the 2 and move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the right. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros, giving me answer C. 22 million is the standard for that. Skipping down to number 12, I'm looking for the slope, and they already give me the 2 dots. So I simply just need to count rise and then run. So it happens to go up 2, so that's my rise, and it's going to go right 1, so that's 1 in the run. 2 over 1 is the same as 2, and I just want to make sure that I know that if I look at answer A or C, that both of those have 2 in it, but one of them is positive and one is negative. So if I were to put a little guy down here, is he going to be going positively up or negatively down? Yes, C. Okay, 13. I'm looking to paint this whole part, looks kind of like a U, and I want to paint all that and find the area basically. So there are several ways to approach this problem. I could kind of look at it like a whole rectangle. Okay, so if I painted the whole thing, I would multiply the base and the height of the whole thing, which would be 12 and 10. So the base and the height, so the area of the whole would be base times height, which would be 10 times 12, which would be 120 feet squared. Okay, but let's say that I didn't want this piece right here. If I didn't want this part, okay, so if I find the area of the part, then that would be base times height, because it's a nice square, 4 times 4, which would give me 16 feet squared. Now, because I don't want that part, I would have to subtract it out. I'd be cutting it out, cut out. So then I would, subtract that. I would subtract 120 feet, the whole thing, minus the 16 feet, and then get my answer from there, which would give me 104 feet squared. These are all squared, which was B. Another way to do this is to actually find this piece and then find this piece and then add it with the piece down at the bottom, down here. I could also do that. Okay. Then you have to find the measurements of each of the separate squares and rectangles here. If you did do that, if this is 4 here, then these two pieces are going to be 3 and 3. And the reason why is because if the whole thing is 10, then 3 plus 4 plus 3 makes 10, and they're both the same size. So I know that each of these boxes is a 4 by 3, which is 12 feet, 4 by 3, which is 12 feet. And then at the bottom, the red shaded part right here is going to be a 10 by, and it's not going to be 12 because 12 is the whole thing, but it's only part of that. Now I know that this is 4 feet, so if I subtract, this bottom part is 8 feet. So this rectangle down here is going to be an 8 feet by 10 feet rectangle, which is an 80-foot square rectangle. So if I were to add up 80 feet with 12 and 12, then that would also give me 12 plus 12 is 24. 24 plus 80 would give me 104 feet squared. So another way to look at the problem would be to look at it in pieces and add them all up. And I want you to really try that again for problem number 16 too. I'm not going to do that one for you, but it's very similar to 13. Okay, for number 14, as we look at the trapezoid, use the formula. I'm not going to go over that one. We've been covering that in class. 15, you can look at it like a trapezoid if you want to, because the whole shape is a trapezoid. Okay, so we can use area of a trapezoid. Okay, or you can look at it as an area for a triangle added with the area of a rectangle at the bottom. Okay, and that's okay for you to do that too. So you can just find the bottom rectangle. Make sure you do pick the correct measurements. The rectangle is a 16 by 6 feet space. The triangle is going to be a 12-foot. I think it's representing 12. And then this part is 16. So a half of 12 times 16. And then you can add that up and then get your answer, which I'm not going to do for you. But if you got an answer, it would be B. Okay, and going to number 19. Last question I'm going to do for our work today. On number 19, as you look at the table graph, you have these tables here. You have this equation, y equals 2x plus 3. What you know about this equation is that it looks like y equals mx plus b, m representing slope. So we know that the slope of the line will be 2, positive. So I do want to pick a positively sloping line for my answer. My b is going to be 3, and b represents the y-intercept. So the line that I want to pick will be positive 2. Now the only positive slopes here would be A and B. So I'm definitely not going to pick C or D because these are negative slopes. And my equation doesn't have a negative slope. It's positive. So just looking at A and B, I want to look for the one that is not only a slope of 2, but also has a y-intercept of 3. That means the line will cross the y-axis at 3. So if I look at this line, it crosses the y right here. This line crosses the y down here. Right here, it's indicated by positive 3. Right here, it's indicated by negative 3. So my correct answer would definitely be A. Okay? And go ahead and review that worksheet we did in class 2 if you need extra help with finding the equation. 20 is a little challenging. We can talk about it in class tomorrow too. See you tomorrow.